Good morning and welcome to today's live show. We have some interesting things happening. Just a little bit of a warning for today. Something I noticed when I did zoom out. I don't know how I really missed it, but when you do zoom out, we do see that the Qs, we do see that the SPY, see both of these guys heading up like this. All right. Now, one thing to pay attention to here is the dollar actually has kind of bottomed out and come up. So it's kind of a moment to be like this, pulling out to a 4-hour. Who's really bluffing here? Is it the dollar? Does the dollar need to go down for a double dip, or is the dollar going to be able to rotate back up, or is the SPY needing to rotate down, or is that going to go back up? So that's just something I noticed this morning. Usually I'm very attuned to it, but I just noticed that this morning and I wanted to point that out. We actually have seen the dollar go up a little bit while the market has been going up. So I think we'll be paying close attention to, if this 2-hour can actually roll over in the morning today. So I think that's something to look at, but I'm not reading into it too much. I still want to pay attention to the signal, see if things are able to roll over. As of right now, we get PPI tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we actually get the core inflation rate. So we get a few pieces of data. We get retail sales later on Thursday. And then after that, we get the Fed balance sheet on Thursday as well. And on Friday, we'll be getting the building permits and the Michigan consumer sentiment. So we do have a lot of data coming out this week, a lot of things to pay attention to. And just noticing that the dollar and the market have headed higher at the same time here. So something we will be paying attention to are maybe a 2-hour able to cross up into positive territory is what we need to look for. Now, what we want to see from the SPY, if that does happen, is does it create the stronger base? Do the Qs create the stronger base? That is what I'm really paying attention to early on this week at this point, or some kind of dip down that leads to that price action turning back up. I'm still leaning more towards this one, but it does tell me as the dollar is, up and the market has been going up that we could see that come in. Now, the move from the dollar here, it just wasn't anything crazy, right? That's kind of why I'm not trying to read into it too much, but it is going up while the market's going up. And you see that continuing as of right now as the SPY is seeing some positivity this morning. So that just tells us, hey, we need to pay attention, because if people get overzealous to the call side, we can really see this rip down. And maybe that's the goal here. Maybe that's the goal here. Remember, around these areas up here, yeah, the dollar was heading up at the same time, but people were overall going to the put side. So they don't want those people to be paid out. So we need people to start to switch to the call side, maybe by seeing a move like this and then starting to drop down. So if we do not get that pullback early on in the day that leads to more upside, well, then we could head up towards that daily expected move, see that actually drop off with that kind of correlation between the dollar and the market at this point, and that's something to pay attention to. The reason I'm also looking into that is just because Bitcoin did see a pretty good drop off, now starting to build back. So we'll pay attention to it, but for the most part, it went through a 4-hour pullback. So a 2-hour pullback or a 30-minute pullback in the market would kind of make sense with the sentiment going on over on Bitcoin. So we'll pay attention to that. Obviously, it doesn't have to happen. We could just start to squeeze, so we'll pay attention if the daily scale is able to turn up here. That's a good sign that we're actually going to test some key levels. So let's just pay attention from here. Now we have to look at the market as a whole and just say, are we going to see some upside? AMC and GME, are these going to be able to cross up? Is that really going to send the market for some kind of dizzy? We'll see. Right? We'll see. We just have to pay attention to these signals very closely. As of right now, 30-minute crosses over. That's not going to be a good sign. Let's look over at NVIDIA. We're seeing this try to gap up pretty good here too, 1.56%. Pretty good move there. So able to remain positive at this moment, not curling over on a 30-minute chart, able to go up still on this 2-hour chart. And we just have to pay attention to, is the daily going to cross today? Is the daily going to cross today, or is it going to take 2 days worth of price action? That's what I want to pay attention to. Same thing for Tesla. Is this going to cross up today? Is the 30-minute going to roll down? Okay, so this is what we really need to pay attention to. Tesla, I believe, if you really wanted to see positivity, gapping up would have been probably one of the best scenarios. Try to head higher, but we're not going to do that as of right now, so we have to pay close attention. NVIDIA, pretty solid move there. We will see. As of right now, just upward price action. It might take the first rigged hour of the day, right? The retail hour for people to get trapped. But like I said, I think this week I am leaning towards a lot of traps. A lot of traps. All right, I think we're going to see some traps back and forth. I think we might see, like today, maybe a trap to the upside, then we pull back, we get the trap to the downside, then we start to head up. I think we'll see a trap-like market, but once those traps decide which direction, it can get dramatic in that direction. So if the first trap is all the traps we get and then we end up heading down, watch out, and then we'll pay attention if there's something down towards these weekly expected moves. How we doing this morning? I gotta feed these dogs real quick. Give me 2 seconds. I gotta feed the dogs, and then I'll be right back. All right, easy as that. Easy as that. Boys are finishing up anyway, so. Okay, excellent. Oh, good. We're feeling excellent this morning. Kunik says good morning. Furry Cute Paws, good morning. Shogun Solo, good morning. NVIDIA, yeah, we just kind of looked at NVIDIA, but still that 30-minute crossing down really what I'm paying attention to. Hey, Lucas, can you explain what synthetic shares are? Well, synthetic shares are just that. They're you would say, artificial shares, right? It's artificial shares. And what allows that to happen is the derivatives market. So it's mainly a way for bigger investors to not have to use like a ton of capital in order to take a position. They can just create synthetic shares, say, and then use those in order to invest. So the creation of synthetic shares is just pretty much a way for them to short a stock more, right? You create more synthetic shares and then you can short the stock, short sell the stock. But for the most part, I believe my understanding of synthetic shares are they're just a way to like artificially get into a position. But I'm not a master when it comes to synthetics and things like that. I just know that it's more of a way for if people get caught in the wrong direction, well, then you get the derivative markets in trouble. And I think that's mainly what's going on with AMC and GME. The derivatives market have made so many fake synthetic shares that it's like more than the shares that actually exist out there. Okay, so that's more what the problem is. And if that position starts to go wrong, well, then they have to start to pay for it. And so derivatives means also that they have to have collateral for it. The collateral are the stocks in the stock market right now. But like I said, I'll say it again and again. I'm not a professional when it comes to analyzing, say, synthetic shares and things like that. I'm just paying attention to the signals in front of me and seeing if they're good or seeing if they're bad. And then momentum can take over, and the derivatives market can help with that momentum at certain times. Oh, I disconnected. Were we able to hear what I was saying? I fear no market trickery. That's good. Don't you feel that as soon as they cut rates, car stocks like Tesla will springboard to the upside, or am I missing something? Well, that's actually something I was talking about with my wife over the weekend, short Fridays. This weekend, we were driving over to Abuela's house, and I just looked at a car lot, and I go, whoa, I go, this car lot is like empty now. I was like, this car lot is just like super empty now all of a sudden. It was like a Toyota lot that I drive by probably like at least twice a week. And I was just like, wow, this car lot's like empty. And then remember a week ago when we talked about the housing market, how there are people sitting on the sidelines. They were sitting on the side. And by the way, the stream is just working better with not having the video up, but we'll put some video up later on this week. Now, it was just more like, okay, we were talking about this over last week. We were just saying, if since those rates came down dramatically, there's a bunch of buyers in the housing market who are sitting on the sidelines because you have what? You have bad price and you have bad rate, right? And that's too much for them. But since they've been waiting around for so long for a better rate or a better price, and neither are happening, once a better rate comes forward, they might be convinced to pull the trigger, lock in their rate. And I think that's something that could happen. And then that would also be happening in the car market as well. So the vehicle market as well. And that just tells me more and more people might have actually got a car recently because the rate is a little bit better. Maybe they were sitting on the sidelines as well. Okay, the main purchases that you ever make in your life, the top 3 purchases that any American ever makes in their entire life: house, car, furniture. So what you can do is just watch those 3 categories and see if you're getting some buying in that category. Why would we see buying last week of cars? Well, it'd be because the rate is finally better. So if they did buy cars at the high price because the rate is better, then technically that is showing demand, and that means that the supply is going down. Therefore, the price of cars might actually go up. We might experience a time where the Fed is forced to cut in a recession and we actually see more inflation. That's how stuck we are. I'm doing good, Frankie. Every week is I expect GME AMC squeeze week. Not really, though. Not on this channel, at least. Right? We overall do pay attention to when things actually curl up on, say, at least a 2-hour. So here we would be like, hey, this is an opportunity. Maybe that sees the upside. Over here we'd say, hey, this is an opportunity. Maybe we see the upside. Over here we say, hey, this is an opportunity. Maybe we see upside. Right? But those are the times we pay attention. Anytime that rolls over, we go, okay, not the moment. So at least we are trying to look at this a little bit through a semi-unbiased lens, I would say. Semi-unbiased, but obviously a lot of people want this to go up. So the real signal to pay attention is when the daily crosses, because you'll notice how significant that is. You can just see it on your chart, right? We have all the moving averages piled up for AMC. We have the MACD right by the center line looking like, hey, it might want to start rolling back up. If we can keep compiling up in here, you're building a ton of liquidity. You know, we talk about building liquidity for a big move. Look at this, man. You're building it for a long time now. So when that does break, people are investing in this. That's why it is able to hold up above 437. So if this curls up at any time, that can really shake things up in the market. I just paid for a small bathroom remodel and they killed me on price. I have a very small house. I read that kitchen and bathroom renovations are the most expensive for homes. Now I feel it. Yeah, once you actually experience it, it's kind of like, I feel like a lot of that stuff is like, oh, you don't believe it until you actually see it right in front of you type deal. So whoever just said like, oh, you should go ask the car lot what's going on, that actually is a good thing to do. Like I might actually go do that for fun, because that would be interesting to see if we're actually getting, like if they're getting good sales, if they're experiencing a supply shortage, whatever it is, if they just had a bunch of people sitting on the sideline. It's kind of like what they did in The Big Short. It's kind of like what I really like this housing market guy. Let me see if I can find him, because I think you guys would enjoy him. He's very good. I'm sure some of you guys already watch him. Let's see. See if I can find one of his videos. There he is. Reventure Consulting. I really like Reventure Consulting. I think he gives some great info. And he is a boots on the ground kind of guy. So he actually will look at the data, but then he'll actually go out in some videos and talk about communities while he's walking around looking at what's going on in the community. So I thought that was very cool. Espresso fun. Let's go, man. I got to get my wife to break out the espresso. We have like a fancy coffee espresso machine, and we haven't used it lately, and I'm mad at her for it. But thank you so much for the $10 Short Fridays. Really, it means a lot. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It adds to the fuel, which is espresso. I think this week will be bearish. I think you have a good sentiment for that. One thing that I kind of missed, and I don't know how I missed it, but you notice that the dollar heading up like this and heading up today as the SPY has been heading up. So I will pay attention to that. Now, that's not a dramatic move from the dollar, right? So that could be some kind of pullback move that's going to happen. But main things to pay attention to, the dollar and the SPY are up at the same time. So we're going to have to look at that PCC today, see if people get overzealous. Like we noticed that from that area, originally, the dollar wasn't moved up too much. Now it's continuing to head gradually up in this area. But the thing that was different from over here is everyone here went to the call side. Everyone here is trying to call a downward move. So maybe we need to head up to a daily expected move. People get convinced this has to go higher, then we experience that pullback. And I think that would make some sense. And someone asked about a stock. McDonald's. Okay, you want to look at McDonald's, Jeffrey? Let's go look at McDonald's for just a, wait, is that McDonald's? Is that McDonald's? What the? I thought this was McDonald's. Hey, clarify that for me real quick, Jeffrey. Clarify what you want to look at. Because I thought that was McDonald's. All right, heading to the upside to start the morning. AVGO, yeah, I've heard that this is something that Nancy Pelosi is Oh, I'm in the futures, that's why. My thing was on futures, that's weird. See if we get the pullback here. This is mainly just going to say pullback at first. Now, if that's going to be more dramatic, the 2-hour crossing over will be it, but you have a bunch of divergence down here, so still leaning towards a pullback at this moment. I need to clean up my desk area. Tesla, I'm noticing kind of red right now, so that one actually saying, hey, I do need to curl down most likely. We'll see what happens with this guy. Why is NVIDIA ripping? Oh, no idea, but I do know that the trend is positive. Let me get my weekly expected moves up as well. Up this too. And then I might pull up my other charts. Okay. So NVIDIA for the week. Really what you're looking for NVIDIA to get is up towards 115, I would say. But looking at the SPY, starting to head up a little bit here. I think pullbacks do happen. Tesla kind of showing you the inclination that it might want to see that pullback over time here. Let's click through. Apple, no curl over just yet. Tesla, trying to curl over. Amazon, already curled over. We'll see if that can curl back up. NVIDIA, rejecting the cross as of right now. AMD, looks like that needs to cross back up on the 30-minute. Meta could see some kind of pullback. That would make sense. Microsoft, well, that could roll down, see a pullback as well. So we see a lot that could experience some pullbacks. Ooh, Netflix. Netflix, this is weakening momentum, by the way. This is a weakness in momentum, just so you're aware. This tells us, hey, we could experience some kind of 2-hour pullback. Look at that thing. So Netflix actually showing some possible downside coming. But NVIDIA now up 2.81%. Is that enough? No, daily's going to need some more price action than that to curl up here. So it's kind of who's lying, the SPY or the dollar? Who's lying, the SPY or the dollar? That's kind of what's going on, at least from how I see it this morning. We'll see what happens when that PCC drops, see how people are positioned, and then we'll find out. Maybe they want people to get to the call side, then get that reaction down. Let me get my other charts up. Got them. All right. Let's go over to, let's have NVIDIA up over here. Is that the monthly? 106. 91. So we did go down to the monthly. And now we're going back to the upside. So Alrighty. MCD is the symbol. Yeah, I think I was in the futures market, and that's why it was messing with me. As far as it goes right now, you don't necessarily see reversal signals from your 30-minute, right? You might be making some kind of little thing here, but you have dropped below kind of a point that was important, right? This is kind of a breakdown area right in here. What'd you do? You broke below it, then you reacted up to it, now you're dropping off again. So you're continuing a downward trend. Looking at this from the daily scale, it would make sense to see some kind of daily, I would even say pullback first, but this could just end up giving it all up down to this area. So we did talk about this down here, about the 200 being most likely where we run into some trouble. See if we can consolidate. That is starting to look like it's breaking down a little bit. We'll pay attention to it, but for the most part, this daily just rolls over. Hey, we got some downside, and you're getting some first indications of that happening. So as far as right now, it looks like leaning towards a daily pullback unless this 2 hour can just turn back up. If this 2 hour can turn back up like this, hey, great. Okay, swing trade available. NVIDIA up 3.32% now, while Tesla is down. Interesting. What's the Dow doing? Dow sitting kind of flat. I might exit some positions here just until we see some more solid price action, I would say. Definitely out of Tesla, as I had to manage that trade. Tesla kind of convinced me, hey, I might need to manage this trade. It's starting to drop below all those moving averages, so I'll look to get back into it if that can turn back up, but for now, that's what I want to see. Still holding on to my NVIDIA. That one hasn't told me to do anything just yet, and it's seeing some good upside. We could get that daily to cross. I'm just mitigating risk here. NVIDIA, I'm currently up 87%. So PLTR, Palantir, that's seen some crazy good price action lately. You tried to make a bunch of divergences here. I think a pullback on the 30-minute is inevitable, but it might be brief. It could be something like this, right? So we'll pay attention if that's able to curl back up. But for now, you're just seeing this thing scream higher, 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 starting to get overbought. So even if this thing does keep going, hey, we can see pullbacks on the 2 hour. That daily did cross, so we would expect this to continue. The time where this was really showing some great stuff was right here. And then we got 2 more days of that extension. So this was a trade that was a little bit more like, hey, I wish I was looking at a shorter time frame, because that's just a crazy move. Excuse me. Disney, I don't mind the look of it right now. I actually think this daily RSI looking kind of good. Like its momentum starting to die out. Want to see if the signals are proving it. Hey, 2 hour right there with the divergence down here on the RSI, kind of flat, but a little bit up here on the MACD. So Disney actually saying, hey, I have a chance for a solid move here. Bitcoin's starting to climb back. We'll see how that PCC comes out in a moment. Yeah. All right, what are you guys chatting about? BTC, Marina, I also want to see the buy signal on VIX, SPY, comp. Joe, just Joe. Friday, so this rally is basically a bluff. It might be a rally that kind of like fakes people out. Alrighty. Now, what else did you say up here? As you exited Tesla and planning on getting back in before 30 days, can we assume you were trading within a tax-deferred account? No, I actually don't trade in a tax-deferred account. My dad does. I don't. I just let the trades happen. I pretty much just let the trades happen. I make my moves. I try not to worry too much about it, and then I just calculate it. And thankfully, my account's like positive, so it'll just automatically do the calculation. I have it set up to be connected to my taxes. I'm more like, I'm going to make whatever moves I want to make and not worry about it. And I can keep it in mind to make sure, you know, my taxes are good. But for the most part, my dad does that, though. He switched his to that. Because I was telling him about the fact that your 401k could really suffer from all of this and them locking you, and that can be a bad thing. And so he just transferred it into the way that you can trade with your 401k. There's a double sell signal on SPX here. Yeah, so looking at the shorter time frame will really help us out, I think. Volatility going down towards that 20 mark. Seeing if this thing can turn up. CPI usually posted after CPI this week. It's the opposite of watching price action on the VIX. 1916 UNG looking really good on the daily. Gas looking good. Gas is looking pretty good here. Crossed up on the daily. Had some little flat divergences down here. Actually had divergence down here, so solid move. I believe when we talked about this, we talked about a reaction to the 50, maybe even the 200, but that is a pretty solid base, so look to get above $15. If that happens, I think you got a straight shot to test that 50 up towards 1640. 16, maybe by the time you get to it, it'll be like 1625, but pretty solid look, right? I actually really like this trade. This trade was fantastic. If you just look at the double top, it curled over, never curled back up. Just a fantastic trade there. I'm targeting 540 for the UVIX. I just want to see how that PCC comes out. NVIDIA's looking like it might be fading the overall move here. And SPY starting to give it up too. Maybe it heads down towards 527. Then we got Meta starting to roll. AMD not giving the most confidence. Amazon starting to roll there. Microsoft, pretty much all of these are starting to roll a little bit. We'll see. Maybe I'll take like some kind of position here just in case something bad happens. Oh, I gotta clean up my damn desk again. See what happens from here. We do notice that volatility trying to curl up on the 30-minute. I think the main signal is the 2-hour curling up, which we are very, very close to doing. We're seeing that maybe 20 level used as support at this point. So we'll see if that's able to turn up. Looking at the daily scale, that's what we'll pay attention to here. Notice that it's about to cross. So if you're going to reject, it technically would be today because you don't really want this to cross. Volatility was down by 14%. So that means the market does have an 85% chance for a down day, actually, in the next 2 trading sessions, one of those being today. And we are seeing the SPY hold at higher levels. We're seeing the dollar. This is the kind of warning for today. Then we'll pay attention to if the dollar drops off with the SPY, then we can see another trap to the downside. All right, so that's something we'll look into today. Volatility is starting to pop up just a little bit here. We got to see if that's going to prove to be anything. I want to see what this PCC opens up at. If that opens up very, very low, like a bunch of calls, then I'll be convinced that there might be some kind of downturn. Maybe we do need to go make that 2-hour divergence first. All right, so paying attention to IWM, that thing's starting to try to go negative here. Really pay attention if you start to see hourly rollovers. You see how the hourly is right on the edge here. The SPY pretty much right on the edge here. The Q's pretty much right on the edge here. So hourly charts are going to be your friend for a little bit here, even though they're not my favorite. But the hourly for the VIX is starting to turn up as well. So you're seeing a similar signal there. Maybe we see a reaction to like another 10% move up in volatility. There's time on the sexy vixens. I'll be back. All right, sounds good. Yeah, bottom for divergence sounds good. I would really love this look. This would fake people out too, wouldn't it, if we actually did do this? So I know I'm leaning towards the pullback scenario where we do something like this and then we just head up. But I'm aware that the very good base would be something like this, and then you turn back up, just a dramatic move down, and then you turn back up. I think that would be the strong, strong base, and then I'm like, okay, that's when if that starts to confirm, I'll start to say, okay, we might short squeeze. But for now, one thing that I'm worried about is all this stuff looks like it needs to turn down. We have some of those like Blue Ocean getting in trouble, possible liquidity issues going on with some of those. And that really could mean, what if this is going to turn down and not be able to turn back up because the derivatives market is in trouble? And we talked a little about derivatives this morning, but AMC and GME, if these things could cross up on dailies while the market actually drops, that's when I would say, ooh, maybe they're actually seeing something kind of crazy. But for the most part, we just want to see our things in front of us. And actually, we have a high put-call ratio again, 0.972 to open up the day. So that means to me, maybe if some downside move does happen, I need to pay attention closely if that's able to rotate back up, right? I need to see if we go down to here today, can it rotate back up by the end of the day? That's what I'll be looking for, because you might only get a small pullback here and then curl right back up. Yeah, PCC looks like, you know, it's nothing like too alarming, but it is up there. We'll see if people switch to the call side soon. As far as the volatility goes, you're sitting right at 20. So you're kind of right at that line in the sand where it's like, are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? And the reason that we could see the reaction today is because the daily signal, if this crosses down, then that's going to tell us, oh, we're most likely short squeezing if that turns down. So today would be the day to actually see that reaction, see some kind of pullback in the market, and then see if we can actually turn down tomorrow. As of right now, we're seeing volatility start to pump up. We're seeing the SPY start to drop off. We're seeing the Qs start to drop off. We're seeing Tesla drop off. We're seeing NVIDIA give up some of the gain here. So we'll pay attention to it. But for the most part, looks like a decently high PCC ratio there. Now, and the other thing that's going on with the SPY is on the daily chart, we haven't fully gone down to this 200. I would really like us to, God, extend this for a little bit. That way that 200 can come up, but we could see a spike reaction down to it, right? We could see a spike down to it or something like that. That would be interesting, but overall, the strongest base is what we're looking for. So the time where I will probably, you know, buy things with two hands is if we see this and then it curls back up and I see this confirm. If I see this and this curls back up and I see that confirm, that's when I will be making a move. That's for sure. That's just weakening in momentum, and that's when you have a high probability for the daily to cross up and we could see some kind of squeeze. So paying attention to a lot of things this morning, but for the most part, just looking for, are we going to head higher? Are we going to head lower? As of right now, on this 30-minute chart, we do see that we're finally getting a red blip, so that can pull back. We would expect the daily expected move for now to be what the target is. If there's more to say, then that will prove itself. We do get data in the morning. Thank you guys for joining me this morning, though. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing. You guys are always fantastic about that. We're seeing these SPYs start to drop off a little bit. Just the big warning was the dollar heading higher while the SPY was overall heading higher in almost the same pattern. So we need to see if the dollar is going to head down while the market's going to head down. If the dollar is going to head down and the market just curls right back up, that would be regular behavior, but we'll see what happens throughout the day. Just a fair warning, I do have to hop off in about an hour and 10 minutes. My buddy, my actual Air Force pilot buddy, was able to come back and visit. His wife's been here for a little bit. They're from Japan, or well, they live in Japan right now. So we're going to be spending some time with them throughout the day. Hopefully I can make it back on later today for a closing stream, but just a fair warning that I do have to hop off in about an hour and 10 minutes. Got to visit them while they're in town, right? He's always working, always working. Do you see reversal in small cap, mid cap? Well, you have the same problem. You have the same exact problem with something like IWM. You have the 2 hour that looks like, hey, yeah, it looks like a strong move so far, but now we're starting to cross below all those moving averages, and we need to update these weekly expected moves for you, actually. Let me update those real quickly, because I have them updated on my other charts. Okay, let's see here. We got 214.16 to the upside. To the downside, you do have 198.76. All right, so this is the range you're looking at. And I want you to see here is where that divergence will be made with if it's going to happen. IWM, what would it do? Well, what if it just reacts down to that weekly expected move and then curls right back up and you see that? That's going to be a great signal for actual reversal on the daily scale. So that is what I want to look into this morning as we're seeing hourlies start to, curl below all the moving averages. If these hourlies start to curl down, an hourly divergence might be all I need to pay attention to here. Nvidia still holding strong so far. Oof. Oof. Now, Netflix is one that I'm a little worried about. What does that 2 hour look like? Maybe a higher low. 611 or something like that. PCC is growing as well, by the way. So as the PCC actually grows, we might actually see some kind of fake out to the upside. Dang, it is growing. It is growing a little bit fast, isn't it? Something I wanted to check on too, because today I know we get some stuff going on with this. That divergence has not led to much, has it? 30-minute crosses down for DJT. Not able to really go positive and remain there. All right, we'll see what happens with that guy. That was my fun play. All right, SPY still rolling over on this 30-minute. If that confirms here in about 7 minutes, we'll find out. We'll find out, are we going to get that pullback down to about 527, 528? Or are we going to see something a little bit more dramatic? As it's happening early on in the day and a lot of puts are coming into the market, I still am more so leaning towards this type of move that leads to upside. Let me go look at this data, what it's projected to be at tomorrow. And of course, I have way too many countries on there. There we go. PPI tomorrow, 0.2 is supposed to come in at 0.1 and 0.1. We'll see how the market reacts to that. Remember, the market reaction is what we're paying attention to. Now, core inflation, CPI, is supposed to possibly tick up on the month-to-month rate. The year-over-year is supposed to stay about flat. the vacuum going this morning. Let me put this on 30-minute charts. Actually, let me put these on hourly charts. That way I can see those. Sava, please, waiting on the 2 hour. Ooh, okay. Okay, 2 hour down by that center line. Awesome. You could probably reach a little deeper, look for that hourly chart, see if that's able to cross above all the moving. You get up here, you're probably crossing up that 2 hour. But yeah, I'm glad you're looking for those little swings. Just look for a strong move above all the moving averages. That's mainly what you're kind of looking for in these type of swings. Volatility now up 2%. We'll see if that's able to curl up by the end of the day. Maybe things get a little dramatic for a bit here. I think they really want people to get tricked to the call side, and that's why you see NVIDIA kind of moving. They want to use NVIDIA to trick some people. NVIDIA, I don't know that you go make that low again. I think this 30-minute is decently positive, so you could just see a curl back down into this zone. Yeah, you're paying attention to the right stuff, Steve. Yeah, it doesn't really, does it, Kyle? Good morning, Wyaz. How you doing? It does look good, I'm not gonna lie. This is a good thing for NVIDIA, yes. This is a good thing. We just want to see if that's able to maybe curl down, gain some buyers, give a little fake out here, curl down, and then cross back up. Just a little one. Four minutes, we'll see if that's able to confirm. IWM still experiencing some weakness here. Ooh. Retest 50K for Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin did do that rollover. Oh, and it spiked down just now, so that's something to pay attention to. What I really want to look for here is anytime this 4 hour curls back up, but it could mean, hey, maybe we need to go down and retest this zone down here first, right? Retest the zone, see if we can get up around that level, see if we make a double bottom, see if something forms in this area. That's what I'm kind of looking for at this moment, as we're seeing some things roll over. 2 hour charts not able to confirm upside, so we weren't able to confirm the move up here, and even if we did, we might have divergence that then sends us lower for a bit. But yeah, Bitcoin really struggling with that bar there. Let's look at some futures here. Okay. Not too much to look into there. All right, let's leave it on the SPY for just a brief moment here. Looking at the last 3 minutes of this bar. BITI, yep. Yep, I've traded BITI before, like once or twice, nothing too crazy. A lot of stuff spiking down, William. Interesting. Look at my other charts again real quick. Ooh, yeah. IWM is looking not pretty, guys. As of right now, and neither is the Dow. So the Dow's really dropping, IWM's really dropping, and those are the two that have really led us in almost every single move so far over the past like 2 months. We've really been seeing the Dow and IWM make the move first. So we'll see, but maybe the SPY doesn't want to make that move just yet because of the PCC too high. But we did notice early on the dollar is a little bit higher and the stock market's higher at the same time. So I just wanted a fair warning about that. Thank you for showing up to the live video so I can tell you about it, because it's just something I just kind of skimmed past over the weekend. My time's been so limited. We were trying to have just a nice date day on Sunday, and it was a lot of fun. We went to a new ramen place, which is like really cool on the inside. I'll probably have to show you guys a picture or something. It's so cool. That's good, Just Joe. How low could Tesla go? Well, you want to pay attention to your weekly expected moves over on Patreon, but pretty much you're just saying, hey, this is bad, right? We're going to say, hey, the hourly turning over, that's going to be bad, right? And we had a rejection divergence, so a good move here was likely. Didn't play out. I already managed the trade a little bit ago. So what I want to see now is, do we actually curl down for a brief moment? Maybe we react all the way down to 180.92. I will be paying attention to levels kind of like 185 or something like that, about 10 points from here. Something like this would make sense, and then we're able to base out, give that divergence. So what I'm kind of thinking here is I'm going to take the closing of this, the closing of that, and just go like that downward, which I want to switch this back to blue. But I want to see that downward move, see if it can hold that. If it's able to hold that and then turn back up, that would mean it's still going within the tapering, and I'm getting another divergence point there. So that's what I'm paying attention to for Tesla as this starts to roll down. Apple not showing too much strength. Let's just see if things are rolling over on hourlies. Nvidia's starting to give it up just a little bit. AMD hasn't rolled. Meta looks like it's about to see its pullback. Microsoft not looking too good here. If you just close a little bit lower, you might see some sell side come in. This still looking kind of flaggy in here for Google. Netflix is one that I think is going to head down just because we see the 30-minute divergence here. But is that just going to be a brief pullback? You know, it always could be, but you're starting to see that crossover. 29 minutes left in those bars. The SPY, as of right now, confirming the 30-minute move so far, saying, hey, we are at least going to experience some kind of pullback. I'm not going to sit here and expect this to have to go make that divergence. I'm still aware of a higher low that can come to fruition. That's mainly what I'll pay attention to today. The Dow is not happy right now, though. The IWM is not happy right now. Did the Qs cross? The Qs did cross, but we haven't lost really the moving averages just yet. And then volatility, just seeing if that can curl up. I would say on the hourly, it has. You have divergence on the MACD, not on the RSI. So we can say that whatever happens here with volatility might just be some kind of bounce that leads to more of a stronger base, right? The market goes and makes that divergence while volatility makes a lower high. That would be something to pay attention to. So really hourly chart's what I want to watch. Now I'm going to step off for 1 second. I'm going to go refill my coffee and be right back. Give me about 2 minutes and I will be right back. Tesla dropping pretty quick here. So I'll be back very quickly. And we're back. All right, what was happening here was on my screen as I was about to walk away, I just see Tesla really starting to drop off, actually, 2.3%. That's where the 30-minute has crossed. Now you are by that center line, so when that does cross, you got to be a little bit weary of it. I understand holding throughout the structure on this curl over, right? Just holding throughout the structure because it didn't look like a drop off, but you see a bar like that, a little bit cautious. Now, if that does turn right back around, okay, we're in business, but it hasn't turned back around yet. We're seeing a lot of people run to the put side. We're seeing the dollar continue to increase here. And so what you're paying attention to with the dollar is if that thing can cross up on the daily scale, we might see some ugliness in the market. So let's just pay attention to what's going on here. Most of the time, we're like, hey, one of these is wrong. Either the dollar's wrong or the SPY is wrong. A lot of the time, it's the SPY is wrong, right? So most of the time, the SPY will be wrong in it. So that's why we're just looking into it. And then we'll see if the market's able to drop off and the SPY drops off at the same time. But for the time being, you're just in a 30-minute, say, pullback right now. It looks like a pullback, right? I took a position for the downside as a hedge, just in case. And then I'm out of the Tesla position. I kind of scraped some off of the NVIDIA position at the high of the day just to make that have some profit behind it. And then we're going to see what happens from here. Anyone see anything interesting? Some flagging on NVIDIA on the 5-minute. I don't pay attention to 5-minute charts too much. What I more want to look for is the price action continuing to the upside? Are we breaking through a key level? This is a key level. It would still make sense for us to need to slightly pull back here in order to head higher, right? It would still make sense for that to happen. Now I just want to pay attention to, are we seeing things confirm on the daily scale and things like that? That's going to be very, very important, right? That's a very important thing. Did this really shoot all the way down to here today? To 100? It did? When did that happen? That didn't happen. You guys see that? Wait, do you guys see that? Am I crazy? Wait, I'm not crazy, right? Why is this wick here? Wait, someone tell me, am I crazy? I'm not seeing that wick in the price action. Like, anyone else? I'm not seeing that in the price action. Yeah, bottoming tail, but we don't see it in the price action. That did not happen this morning. What? Wick was there on several charts. Okay, maybe I just, I didn't see it at all. All I saw was the gap up, and then we just stayed here. Weird. That bums me out. I think that's silly. SPY reacting back up. Dollar heading higher with it, guys. Dollar heading higher with it. I'm a little bit cautious of this move now. I'm a little bit cautious of this move now. Now the dollar's starting to head up a little bit much, right? Rejecting. Daily could cross up in the next day or so. And the PCC is higher. So if we do head up towards that daily expected move upside and we continue with this type of look, I might be looking to get out of my NVIDIA play. Wick was on the opening 5 minutes. Well, the opening 5 minutes, maybe I could see it on like a smaller chart. Did I see it on like a 5-minute chart? Hey, look at the 5 minutes. I see a gap up and we never came back down. That's what I see. I'm sure it's on some. It's just, I think it's always fishy when it's not in my, right, it's not in my data. Like, I don't have that data. It's just not on TradingView. Yeah, it might be on like the actual trading platforms. I could probably go look, but. All right, now we're starting to see some upside moves, all right? So what can we look for across the board? Well, we can look for if we keep the same, if we stay the same, everyone go to puts. I think what they want to do is convince people to go to calls now. And then if people don't get convinced to go to calls, we might just squeeze. The bounce is stopping. Dollars going up with it. Pretty good there too, 0.13. Volatility went negative, if that could load real quick. There we go. Volatility did go negative, about to test that 20 level. Let's actually... starting to get tight on volatility. I'm gonna look at it with my other charts. That yawn means I need to drink some coffee. Let's look how tight this... Oh my gosh, volatility is extremely tight here, though. If you just like turn on Bollinger Bands for it, you guys would see it. It's crazy how tight it is. We'll see. We will see. We need people to get convinced. I think they want to convince people to take calls. That's what I think is going on. It's a great reaction. Great little reaction there, but... is the Dow reacting up like that? Not necessarily. NVIDIA now up 4%. Look at that. AMD, I believe, is trying to curl up on this... oh, maybe it was a 30-minute that needed to curl up. Yeah, it just did. What was one that looked weak? It was Netflix. Netflix looked weak. Weak momentum to the upside, maybe a bigger pullback, but... IWM still low. AMC and GME popping up here, so we got to pay attention to these. If we just get a daily cross up of that over that 200, we could see something crazy. VIX dumped on mine. Yeah, it dumped on mine too. Yeah, it dumped. It's going to test that 20 level. And all you have to do is look at the daily scale too. If we start to cross over here, well, we need to see if that lands by the end of the day. But if that starts to cross over, it would potentially mean more upside in the market. Just IWM is saying something completely different. See the SPY, if that's able to really confirm up here, that would be a big moment. So we really need to see if these hourlies are going to hold up. I think the hourly chart is your friend for the day. A lot can happen during retail hour, right? We climb, we climb, we climb, we go flat, we go flat, we climb, we climb. People buy a bunch of calls, and then it starts to drop. So we'll pay attention to the PCC as of right now. PCC very high, so everyone's still saying there's going to be a drop. So therefore, we could squeeze a little bit today. We'll find out. Sure, Friday says, go woke, go broke. I think 113 to 115 is a pretty solid level there for this week especially. Oh, SMCI, a little 5% move there. Curl up on a 2 hour, no real reversal signals, but it did curl up on a 2 hour. You can see a reaction. You see how this would probably need the stronger base. Like there's no taper. I feel like this is more one that would need that stronger base unless it just gets great news. Only a 0.03 loss per. This is a bit of a day trade twice 30 off there 100% of the time plus I need. Yeah, and it sounded like that was kind of going the opposite way on you, right? This morning you were kind of mentioning that, right, Just Joe? You said it was kind of going the other way, and then you were like, oh, well, it looks like my shorts I'm going to be able to break even. I think that's awesome. It's a good day, isn't it? Isn't that nice when that happens? NVIDIA still going higher. Okay, so NVIDIA really seeing a reaction here. I bet maybe a lot of people trying to short NVIDIA. We'll find out. But top of the channel is where I'm going to pay attention as well for some kind of resistance to come in. But still, I like that 115 level. I think 115, you kind of do this, you consolidate this way, and then you get up to this zone, then you break through. Or if you get up to here, that'd be even better. Just a big reaction. turn back down. Ooh, that would look good. But this could be some bait here, and it's working. You see it's starting to work. PCC now dropped to 0.88. So we'll find out very, very soon if this stuff is going to keep heading to the upside or actually be able to roll down on some hourly 2-hour charts. PCC, and you can just type in up here, you can type PCC, and then you can put it up on your chart. What I'm looking for is when overall people are mostly going to the put side or when they're mostly going to the call side. And then I want to look at what the environment looks like with that. If people are going to the put side very dramatically, and then we see, say, the dollar heading down while the market's heading down, then we would say, oh, they're getting baited into the put side and we're about to see an upward move. If we have those signals confirming on those charts. Now, if it's the opposite way, we'd say, oh, everyone's buying calls, which is what I'm looking for today. The dollar is higher, the market is higher, but the PCC is high, meaning too many retailers would make money. So what we want to see here is if that put call ratio can come down like this, then that would mean people are a little over leveraged to the upside. They're convinced the stock market has to go up. And we know the dollar is up while the market is up. So that tells us, hey, we could see some kind of pullback. Don't worry, guys. Keep buying. Yeah, it's kind of like, it's sad to say that. It's sad to say that, no assumptions, but it is literally like, hey, we need some retailers to get baited into a bad decision of going dramatically to the call side so that we can take an opposite position if we see things start to roll over. That's kind of how you look at markets. Where is PCC? Just type it right here. PCC, put call ratio. But it's up here. It's at 0.88 right now. So we need that down towards like 0.80. Once that gets to 0.80, I'm pretty convinced that that's the job has been done. And then if we start to see things reverse, that's when we react, right? We don't just see the PCC, we see the dollar, we just make a position. No, we still wait for things to react, right? We wait for things to confirm. What you got next? Freaking Robert's out there just showing us the pennies. Bitcoin going back up. Let's go check on that for just a brief moment here. Bitcoin started to head back up, but I think that selling did have something to say there. Now, I like 2-hour charts, so if this 2-hour confirms up, Bitcoin might most likely making the new one higher. I don't see it on Webull. Yeah, I don't use Webull. I use TradingView for all of my analysis. I've loved TradingView for a long time. I don't use my trading platforms like at all for any technical analysis. I just use it for looking at price pretty much. Yeah, everyone in here, yeah, everyone's cool. Like, I feel like everyone has their other stuff to figure out. Like, people even mention stuff to me that in the live chat that I have to go look up because I'm like, I don't even know that type of stuff. 110 for NVIDIA. Good morning, Banana Sam. How we doing today? Pretty good, pretty good. See if I can hit 540. It's a great target. I like it. Let's go look at... Oh, PCC just bounced back up. People still trying to short the market. So this is where we can start to see squeezing. You'll see here the daily starting to cross over. This is where we can start to see squeezing if people get overzealous to the downside. Like overzealous thinking like, oh, this market has to go down. That's exactly the recipe for when the market goes up. Now the dollar is still higher. So I still think today will be to try to convince people to get out of their short positions. But for the most part, we want to take it for what it's worth. And right now, we're just seeing some things cross down on volatility. If that remains, then most likely we are going to squeeze a little bit to the upside. We might actually see these things turn back up. Opinion on Mara today. Let's go check out Mara. It's going to be wonky. Ooh, 10% though. Usually Mara follows Bitcoin really well, and Bitcoin not seeing this type of behavior. Did the 2-hour cross down? Okay, 2-hour crosses down. That's not going to be good. Hourly, is that by the center line? Yes, it is crossed over. So this is overall not a good sign. Okay, this is not a good sign right now. Now, you did have divergence for this point, but you can see it almost acted like sort of almost a double top here, crossing back down. So what you're looking for here is that divergence to hold up, but you can remain going down for a little bit as this was a very low reading. So, you know, see if this can base out and turn back up by the end of the day. But for the most part, you want to treat that as, hey, this is just the first tick of something bad happening. If we want to, a more likely thing is we make a 2-hour divergence. We could even head a little bit lower or just remain down here for that 2-hour to really cross and then see if that crosses back up. So for Mara, I would be patient on it. I might look into this soon, but that 2-hour divergence like this is what I would look for, which is what we're looking for from the market. You notice that Mara is doing what I think should happen in the market now. With how the dollar's looking, either some kind of pullback or go and make that 2-hour divergence. The SPY still heading up though, as people keep trying to short the market. If people keep trying to short the market, things probably just continue to the upside, right? Because this thing is dropping off. It's dropping off fast. Dow trying to build back. IWM trying, but not really succeeding. Tesla, what are you doing? Trying to build back, not really succeeding. Hasn't curled over on an hourly yet. No sure plan on video upon reaching expected daily. I'm thinking taking short around 115 with a stop if it holds over. See, if it happens today, if it happens very, very quickly, NVIDIA heading up to 110, what I'd really think would happen is we've just broken out of this zone. So if you don't want like this thing to just completely fail, right? Because you need that reaction up to here. You don't want that to happen early on in the week. And I know that's crazy to say, but you really don't. Because if this happens early on in the week, you can just get a full rejection from that and be down here by the end of the week and it would still make sense. So what I more want to see is, can we react up to something like 115 or something like that, base out for a bit, then cross through going into like Thursday or something like that, see that drop off again dramatically, and then people are convinced with puts, and then maybe something like this before earnings sets up. We see the left, we see the head, we see the right shoulder, right? Now, something that I think is actually a little bit likely here, as the daily looks like it does want to cross up, if we start to reject from the top of the channel, then I just want to see, is that going to pull down? Is that going to pull down and give me the 2-hour divergence again? Or is that going to just pull down for this zone as we've broken out of it? We touch back in it. I think this look would be better for the stock, but you're right in thinking if this just goes like that, one thing you need to pay attention to is the daily crossing up. You more so want to see, is it doing this and then starting to roll down? Because if this just does this, that's something crazy happening. And if that daily turns up, you can just keep that going. That can really hurt you, right? You're taking the opposite end of a swing trade when it confirms. What chart displays the put call ratio? I really like the PCC. It does the equities and indices here during the day, and then after hours you can look at CPC. They're just a little bit different. You want to look at the difference. Most of the time I'm using PCC during market hours, and like CPC is just what I'm paying attention to afterwards. But most of the time I'm paying attention to this during market hours. It just does the equities and the indices here. So I really like that. So that tells you right now everyone is trying to short the indices. Everyone is, or not everyone, but you know, we're about to the point where a lot of people are to the put side for the, say, the SPY and the Qs. George Alexander, thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, and that's what we were paying attention to, Marina, weren't we? We were paying attention to how people were trying to short at the lowest point down here. People tried to short, again, really, really dramatically right here. And we just said, oh, we curl up, then that's going to be a good sign. And we curl up, and that's a good sign. So this is where we didn't really use this too much. We more were using things like NVIDIA. NVIDIA showing us the good basing out. There you go. We're starting to confirm that upside. This is a fantastic move from NVIDIA. But I wouldn't say, like Braun is saying, I'm not necessarily thinking that these are great setups just yet. I think we still have an opportunity to pull back or see some kind of stronger base. VIX, well, and the thing about NVIDIA is that resistance technically for the week is 115, but your first resistance point is going to be this channel. So it depends on what that, look at this, we're seeing a dramatic rise in the put call ratio. So the dollar, though, is reacting up as well. So you have some interesting behavior. The only thing different from everything that we normally see in a rigged move is usually the PCC goes like this. Usually it goes like this, and we see that dollar higher while the market's higher. We're not seeing that, so we could start to see some squeezing, and the volatility is dropping down here, so we could start to see a little bit of squeezing in the market. Or we're going to see this squeeze up to this area, and then that call side gets flipped to. Right when the call side is flipped to, that's what I want to pay attention. That's why I was looking at it at 0.88, because that can tell me a lot. But NVIDIA, great move, 5.7. I'm probably going to take some profit at the top of this range here. I'm up like 160%. So I did trim some off here, so it could have been a good gain, but I'll take the gains regardless. Tesla, I'm glad I'm not dealing with that anymore for the time being. We'll see if that's able to curl down, create a stronger base, or if it curls right back up, hey, we might see something crazy there as well. Tesla, by no means dead, really. Still close enough to that center line to get a good reaction. We just have to see if that's going to actually turn back up on, say, a 30-minute or something like that. But everyone trying to short the indices right now is what you're seeing. So I think 538 is going to be important. And then based on the PCC, I might apply a small, another position to my hedge at that level. Bitcoin going back to 60K is what is being told here, and that rejected the crossing on the 30-minute. That's the first thing. Now, that's the 30-minute, so the 2-hour crosses up. We should expect positivity. We're going to get to this zone most likely. We'll look for divergence. 4-hour, right, crosses back up. We should expect positivity if a 4-hour curls up in positive territory. NVIDIA, I'm really watching the 30-minute and the hourly right now, and the 2-hour, but more so I just want to react quickly if I see NVIDIA roll over on even a 30-minute. Because right now I'm taking a 2-hour trade, so I want to see if this 30-minute rolls over at any time. Okay, then I take that that off the table, right? So around this area, I might trim a little more, right? And then if that drops and I see this cross down, then I will say, okay, I'm out of the position until we base out and curl back up. Then I can be in that pretty comfortably and treat it as, hey, there's probably going to be a daily swing trade. It might. It's trying to. Look at this. Look at that. That's a great move. It's a great move. It's just no one's really buying it at this point. Everyone's saying, no, it's going to go down. No, it's going to go down. No, the SPY's going to go down. No, the SPY's going to go down. And we just keep seeing puts come in. So now you're seeing that kind of squeeze behavior in here. Volatility is crossing down. But for QQQ, we'll look for this, right? We just got to see, are these hourlies able to really cross down and see that pullback? I still believe you need a pullback here, but you won't need a pullback if we keep giving them liquidity with those puts, right? If you keep buying puts, you can see this happen, and then maybe we just do this, and then by the end of the week or going into next week, we actually turn up again. EMA on the 30-minute, they're going to be the same on every chart. This is a 200 SMA. The purple is a 50 SMA. The red is a 9 SMA. And then the yellow is a 20 EMA. Can we check NVIDIA? Well, we've been talking about NVIDIA the whole time. Great move. We were in the move, so we're benefiting from it. Starting to trim some off the table at the top of the channel. But I still believe most of this is trying to convince people to buy calls as the dollar is still higher while the market's higher. But if that goes away, if the dollar ends up being wrong and curls down, we have to react. A lot of puts coming in, so you can squeeze from this area. More and more and more puts. Remember, we're still doing this too. We need to test the breakdown area. And look where that daily expected move is today. I really like that. It's whatever works for you. I know what I use, but no, it's just a personal preference. If you like one better than the other, then there's no one way to trade. I just give out how I like to do things, so that's the moving averages I use. I don't think it's bad to try to use pretty much anything if it works for you. Oh, still more and more puts coming in. And then you'll see more and more puts come in, and then right when we get to here, most likely that starts to drop dramatically. Right when people should say, okay, now we have a percentage to drop, right? Now we have a 68% chance to close below that line. That's when people start to get in trouble. Happened on GoPro as well. So 5% up. That's a pretty good gain. I'm going to trim a little bit there. I'm just going to trim a little bit just to make sure, because that there pretty much solidifies like, hey, I have profit now. I've made profit in this move. I'm up by 160%. I've officially made profit in the move. Now I can like hold a runner or two. The hounds. Let's release the hounds. Well, we got to see. People are still going to make money in this move right now. If that does curl down, and I don't think they want that to happen. Dollar is starting to, fade a little bit. Just a little bit. Volatility is breaking below 20. So I'm not trying to apply any big short positions or something like that. I'm just trying to get out of my longs for the most part. Just in case something bad happens. And then I can leave a couple of runners just in case we do see some kind of squeeze. Thank you guys for showing up today. Really appreciate it. I love coming and talking with you guys about stocks every single day. So thank you guys for liking and subscribing, and welcome to some of the new people coming in over the weekend. Maybe we need to talk about this in the technical indicators course, because I think this is important to watch. We might make a video around that, put a new video out in the technical indicators course, the $100 course that is 90% off in the description. I might make that and just discuss the PCC, the dollar, and the price action in the SPY. I think that would be solid, because I don't think we talk about that much. We're not really seeing reversal signals, by the way, from the VIX. You were seeing a divergence here, but you don't have it at the same time, so it's not going to be that strong of a reversal signal just yet. I'm really seeing if the 2-hour can curl up at any time, the hourly can kind of see some more positivity, go positive territory. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But everything's starting to test their breakdown areas, except for Tesla not able to get up to 216. SPY, I still think we want to go test that breakdown area now. NVIDIA, could go test it eventually. I just feel like you need a stronger base here still. Not really stronger base, more of a like little pullback would be nice. A little pullback, like especially at the top of the channel, you just do something like this. That would be fantastic. SPY looking to push up. Yes, it looks like we are heading to the upside for the SPY. Ooh, AMC actually getting a nice little curl up here. We'll see if that 30-minute can confirm up. We'll see if this 2-hour can go positive. Make sure to pay attention if these things start to curl up and close above that 200, okay, for AMC, and if GME is able to confirm a move up as well. SMCI seeing a 10% move up so far with no base signals, really. Remember, it's right when we hit that upward point is usually where people start to take the call side. So we're looking for this red line. Are they using NVIDIA to hold up the market? It looks like it at the time being. Okay, so what you want to see, like this is where This is where I need to get that. I honestly do need to get that. The one sponsorship I need is, oh God, it's in my emails. They've hit me up so many times. Who the heck is it? What the heck is the platform that you use to see the order flow that I always talked about? And then they emailed me a bunch and I just forgot about them. But that's the one sponsorship I would take because it allows you to see the order flow. So you can go to something like NVIDIA and see like almost the PCC for NVIDIA. That would be nice. You see the orders up in this area. You'll see orders down in this area. You can see how many orders are to the upside or downside. Someone's got to know what that is, and I'm just forgetting what it is. Bookmaps, yes, bookmaps. Bookmaps. I need to email them back. Because that's the only one that I would really like to have. I'll email them back because I think that would be a good thing. All right, volatility is starting to spread this out to the downside. IWM not able to build it back though. The Dow not able to fully build it back though. SPY is so far. We gotta see what's going on with that PCC later. A dollar is starting to drop off a little bit here. Now we need some confirmations down on, I would say, some 2-hour charts at least. If we're going to see that pull down, then that could mean, hey, there is cash going in and maybe we just end up squeezing. As volatility has been confirming down. If this confirms down, we should say, hey, volatility is most likely to head down on the daily scale. That's what we should say. That's how the chart is adding up. That's what the MACD is telling you. It's telling you pullback. So what you'd want to pay attention to then is, do we run into a roadblock when we come and test some of these? Test the 50, right? Test the 50 as that's above the 200. Test the 200 as that has crossed here. So this area might be important this week. SPY started to head up here, looking like it might want to cross up into positive territory. We'll pay attention to this up towards that daily expected move. Jim Kramer said, hey, everything's good. Lux Algo I have used. I actually did use Lux Algo for like a full year. Jim, I didn't think it added too much to my trading strategies. I just felt like it was a fancier looking chart for calculating exactly what's going on. I even didn't think the buy or super buy signal, whatever the heck it is, was very good. But for the most part, if it gives you tools that are more useful to you, I'm not going to hate on it, right? I don't think it's a bad platform by any means if you like it. I just know that I've done better just by switching back to my classic look. And I tried Lux Algo, I think like 2.5 years ago, and I implemented it on a certain chart for like about, I think it was 6 months to a year. I had it on there. And it was okay. I just didn't feel like it added enough. Like I never saw. So say this, like I think it's something you have to pay what, like $500 a year for or something like that. So did I think that Lux Algo gave me at least a 3x return per year for purchasing that? That's more what I'm looking for. I'm a marketing guy, so marketing was my expertise for years and years. I've worked in some of the biggest marketing firms in Kansas. And so I know that the rule I like to have for my clients is I need to see a 3x return. So for you guys, it's like, okay, so for if you join the Patreon for $7. That means I at least want to be giving you $21 worth of value. Okay, so that's why on Patreon we try to give monthly ranges, weekly. We're not just giving weekly ranges, we give monthly ranges, weekly ranges, daily ranges on Fridays, an update video once per week. That's the kind of things that we need to look into. So Lux Algo, I don't think I really could even say I saw a 3x return on it. So I say, hey, okay, then that wasn't useful. But it's good to try. And if it helps out your trading and you see that 3x return from purchasing it, and you think your trading is getting better because of it, because of certain signals that you're using in it, then that's perfectly fine. But I would really implement that rule when purchasing anything, even my course, right? Even my course, I would implement that too. Really see if you think there is 3 times the amount of value. And a lot of people come into my chat after they take the technical indicators course for $100, the understanding indicators and weekly divergence and stuff like that. So, or weekly moves and divergences. They actually come in and they say, oh, I've already made all my money back in one trade. That's a fantastic sign that in the first month of taking that course, you're going to get 3x your value. It means that the value you could get from that information could be 5x, 10x, 20x if you implement it correctly. So that's why I have it priced out so low too, is just so people can really see that return quickly. And that's what I'm looking for when I try out an indicator. So when I do Bookmaps, if I do have a partnership with Bookmaps, because I think that's one of the only partnerships I would kind of look into with order flow, I need to make sure that whatever they're trying to give us, we see a 3x return. And if I don't see that, then I will take the sponsorship away. But we haven't settled on anything. I haven't even talked to them yet, but Bookmaps is one of the only ones that I would really look into. We have been waiting. You want to see it as the time? Well, it's doing good things. AMC and GME, like, don't think that this all couldn't be a bait because GME and AMC are about to pop off. Because if AMC is able to do this, if AMC is able to cross above this 200 and then cross on this MACD, close above the 200, that's going to be 100% awesome. One of those guys. Yeah, it's pretty much like every month. I want to try to give you enough value on Patreon so that you can make your money back with information. And then if you're able to make money, say, with using those ranges, then the potential for upside of your return is crazy. I paid for the swing trade course, made 5x the value on a single trade afterwards. And that's why it's like that too, right? I don't want it to be, I've been in marketing for a long time. I understand marketing is not a way to bait someone into buying something they don't need, especially in a scenario where we're looking at stocks, right? People are trading these things. So what I want to do is make a course that can allow you to do something like that. Make a 5x trade, make a 4x trade right after or something like that. So you immediately see the value of the course. Yeah. Then who said... Someone said, didn't someone just say they wanted to look at Palantir? Oh, it's Trevor. Trevor wanted to look at Palantir real quick. Upper for the SPY today, by the way, Nyson, is going to be 538 level. And then for Palantir, we're seeing stuff start to roll. Watch out for Palantir on the daily scale if that starts to see weakness. All right, watch out. Do we see reversal signals right now? No. So do I think that this is going to be a moment where we crash down into oblivion? No, but it could be with that daily signal there. If it's weak enough, it can confirm that. So what we need to see here is, are we going to just see a 2-hour pullback that then leads to another high, and then maybe we get a divergence? That's when you're more likely to see that daily cross down. So if you're looking in the tighter time frame, this is something we were pointing out, just seeing that upward price action, kind of getting rid of it. But the 30-minute did cross right here with some divergence up at this point. Now, it's not on the MACD and RSI at the same time, so you can experience a pullback. Most likely this is going to be a pullback. But if that 2 hour crosses, that can be a drawn out pullback and then come back up over time later on. So for now, though, you see this on your MACD, that should be enough to convince you if I bought something, say, way down here with the signals, and now it's showing me this up here, then this is something that I would say, okay, now I need to take some off the table for sure, for sure. That's what this MACD is telling me at this moment. I'm going to experience a pullback, if not a reversal in trend. So this is a place where I need to be very, very careful. And then if that turns back up, then that's just a continuation play there. Hey, that's okay. Mistakes happen, Trevor. Mistakes do happen. That's perfectly fine. What I like to do is when I hit that 100% mark, a lot of the time when I hit 100% on a trade, I'm taking some kind of profit. I did that with NVIDIA, right? You heard me do that with NVIDIA just this morning. Right here, I was at about 100% in profit. I took some off the table to make sure to make money. Then we see another little upward move. I take some off the table to make some money. And now I'm definitely in the money on the overall trade. And I can leave a runner or two to see if something crazy happens. But if this rolls over, then I will be 100% out of the trade. And I will be up. I will still be positive on the trade. That's the key thing. So just like learning to take profit at certain times, not trying to make $1 million, right? If I have 10 contracts and I see 100% move, I'm probably going to sell 5 contracts. And then if it goes higher, then I need to find a point where I can convince myself to get out. And where would that be? Well, it might be right in this area. Right? It might be right there, which happens to line up with the channel. So maybe the top of the channel is where I say, okay, now I'm going to scale out 3 more and leave 2 runners. And then at that point, I just go, okay, if this curls down though, I'm going to sell those 2 runners. Now, if that goes like this, awesome. I hit something like 119 or I hit 115, the weekly expected move. I go, okay, now I'm 100% out. That's how I use weekly expected moves. We talk about it in the course. I assume we go to the upward daily expected move based on the signals that I am seeing, by the way. That's just what I'm assuming at this point. Now, it's an assumption. Am I taking a trade based on an assumption? Hell no. You win some, you lose some. Yeah. At least overall, you're up on the 2 trades together, right? Thoughts on Upstart? Let's go look at that too, because someone was asking about this last week. Ooh, okay, see, this is weakness in momentum. This is definitely weakness in momentum. So the way you want to play this is bad. You want to say right here, okay, this bar right here says something bad's going to happen. Something bad has happened. If that curls back up, okay, awesome. Plenty of things can happen. But first, I need to look at the 2 hour here and see if it's in pullback mode. 2 hour here, if that crosses down, ooh, a big pullback can come. Okay, a big pullback. We could pull back down into gap support, right, with this high, with the gap up. So this area right here could be very important for Upstart soon. So that's why I want to manage that risk. But if that 30-minute turns back up, hey, I got another move higher, I just might want to look for that divergence point again, right? We do something like this, we go like this, maybe a clearer divergence sets up, and then we actually cross down for that 2 hour. But you see how 30-minute divergences really start to roll over that 2 hour. That's why I like them. SMCI, if it's still up by 10%, this is a wild upward move. As of right now on these shorter time frames, it depends on how far you're going out, but the shorter time frames, this is something I would say, okay, I'm not chasing here. I didn't have a very strong base. Okay, so if we need to go create that stronger base, that's more when I'd look to react. I would just treat it like, oh, I missed out on the big move, but there were no real signals down here besides the rejection down here. So I'm not necessarily like bummed out I missed it by any means. I'm just thinking, hey, if a good trade sets up for it, then I can see positivity. And so I'm going to be patient, maybe just be patient if I really want to trade SMCI, and then see if a daily turns up or something for a swing trade. So AMC and GME are seeing positivity. What about my fund play? No, it's not. Hopefully that divergence holds and it just turns right back up. That would be solid. A lot of liquidity issues this week from some people, so we'll find out. SPY starting to trickle up, trickle up, trickle up. NVIDIA the one holding us up at this point. Meta rolled. Google, we'll see if that rolls. But AMC, solid move, starting to fade. GME, 1%. Mara starting to roll back up as well. And this is what we were talking about with the market was, do we see this hourly divergence just like Mara is showing? You see how Mara is showing this? This is kind of what I'm looking for in the market. I'm also looking for the higher low, but this could set up. So this is something to pay attention to. Where's my phone at? Oh, shoot. Oh, it's in my pocket. Serve, you want to look at serve real quick? Yeah, let me just look at this. I got to make sure my buddy's not on his way here. Okay. He hasn't hit me up just yet. They might be sleeping. He's still adjusting. He just flew back from Japan like 3 days ago. And right now, I believe he'd be like drunk or going to bed. Serve, let's go check that out for just a brief moment here. All right, we're seeing some downside here, but you're still holding some consolidation. So I don't mind this look. What I'd want to see is, what does the 2 hour look like? When does that 2 hour cross up? Right now, everything is saying bad things. Everything is saying bad, 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 bad. But if I get a couple green bars like this, hey, I'll be taking back all the moving averages. Hey, I'll be crossing up on the MACD to the upside. Hey, I'll be crossing the center line on the RSI. It's just a simple swing trade we're looking for here. Not really a play to the downside to be had yet. Let's look at the daily scale. Daily pullback could be happening, right? So this could be extended to the downside, but that could turn around at any time. So do I think it's there for a trade setup, like a for sure weakness and momentum to take a play on the daily to the downside? Not necessarily. It would make sense. But if this just curls up like that, hey, we can start to do something like this. Everyone to the put side, man. And Sava was one that we did check out this morning, but for Sava, again, you're more just looking at the 2 hour, seeing if that can curl up. You're not necessarily seeing basing out signals. You could probably look at an hourly on this one, see if it can take back some moving averages, but you're not really seeing reversal signals down here. So don't be surprised if you do see a pop, you see that drop again and create that strong base. But if you start to see a 2 hour swing up, ooh, that could be a good sign for some upside. Dollar moving down a little bit. So that would mean more likely buying is coming into the market now as people are trying to short it. So that tells me maybe I need to relook at Tesla. Maybe I need to see if this is curling up into positive territory, because we could experience some kind of squeeze. But the main time we need to pay attention, guys, is going to be, and since I do have to hop off in the next like 10 minutes to go see my buddy, right here. You need to pay attention here. Look here, see what that PCC reading is at that time, see the behavior of the dollar, and then see if things start to roll down from that area. This is usually what you'll see a lot of the time. People are confident in puts, This is going to go down. This is going to go down. Oh, crap. Is it going to go down? Is it going to go down? Oh, God, this is probably going up. Let me switch to calls. And they do it at the exact wrong moment. So now if that holds and people continue trying to short at this area, that's where you can really start to break to the upside. That's where you can see some upside pressure. But overall, just paying attention to it throughout my day. I'll be looking back at it, and hopefully I can come back for a live stream. No promises today, because me and my buddy, we got to go. We might go to Topgolf. Watch me send the sexy vixens out to wreak havoc on the market. Shame on you. Man, I wish my buddy was more into stock market stuff, but here's the thing. He's high up in the military or high up in the Air Force, so he has things that we're not allowed to buy. He has things that are guaranteed to give him 12% a year that are backed by the US government. So he literally doesn't even have to look at stocks, and he's guaranteed 12% a year, which is pretty crazy to me. I thought that was crazy, but I was like, is there any? I looked into it and I was like, that is psycho. Like, you can just make 12% a year. So he's like, why would I trade stocks when I can just make 12% a year? I'm like, yeah, that's pretty valid. How's Apple looking? Let's go check that out real quick. Apple just trickling higher, hitting the breakdown area as of right now. So we would like to see a pullback from here. This is why this is why I don't like people jumping into the PCC. No, Marina. That's why I'm kind of happy about starting this. It's because now I have people to talk about stocks with. There's people who are interested, but I'm going to share with you guys something pretty funny. If we head down one more time, I'm going to show you guys the My Brother indicator. I'm going to show you guys the My Brother indicator, which is my brother. Love him to death, my little brother. He always messages me, so I'll show you when he messages me, okay? You want to see when he messages me? All right, so right here, my brother told, I think it was right in this area, I believe it was around, yeah, it was around my sister's birthday, so it was around this area. My brother messages me and he goes, hey man, should I buy stocks? I really want to buy something that's safe that can head to the upside. And I was just like, well, I had to hold off on that because we're probably heading down. And then right here on this bar right here, he started to message me and say, hey, it looks like everything's going to crash. Are we about to experience a crash? Because I'm hearing that everywhere. I'm like, no. And he doesn't stay like attuned to it every day. He's more just like, once it's a big topic, that's when he's paying attention. So now he's probably gonna like up in these levels be like, hey, so should I buy stuff? It's the My Brother indicator. I love him to death, but yeah, I'll have to teach him some stuff because he needs to just watch markets a little bit closer to know that it's not guaranteed, especially right now, to go up for the next like 12 to 24 months. You're just not seeing that type of signal. It's not guaranteed by any means, like not highly probable. We just have monthly signals that look like we could experience weakness over the next 12 months at any point. So maybe in 12 months we do, you know, hit an all-time high, but that could be the bait. So we'll see. Good luck, Kalani. Thank you for the good luck. Thank you for your time. You've been a lot of help for me. I've been struggling. I lost my confidence and just been in a downtrend these past few months. Well, let's change that. Let's change that, right? Let's figure out what we're doing wrong, really be accountable for our trading and say, hey, this is a mistake I keep making continually. Write it down on a piece of paper, and before your next trade, make sure you're not making that same mistake, right? Writing stuff down. It takes a lot of balls to do it. I'm just going to tell you right now, it takes a lot of balls to do it, but I did it, and it really helped me. You have to sit there and be like, what am I doing wrong? Why are my trades for the last consistently going wrong? What am I doing? Why is this happening? Am I buying when the MACD looks like this right now? Am I trying to buy right here on a 30-minute play? Maybe I'm trying to do a 2-day trade on the SPY, and I'm saying, okay, this has to go up to the weekly expected move. Well, you're actually experiencing maybe this is starting to get to this level, and you don't notice the PCC is dropping and the dollar is going up, right? Little things like that can really help you. I believe him, but I believe him on one scenario. This is the scenario where the stock market can go to 15,000 by 2029. I know a lot of people will say if Kamala gets in, the market is going to crash. I actually think the opposite. I think that if Kamala gets in, they're going to pump more money into the system. They will not allow it to crash. They will keep using inflation as a form of taxation and keep using it to print more and more money to go more and more into debt. That's what I think. Now, the bad part is, say if Trump gets in and he actually gets this market under control, you're going to see a drop, but it is necessary at this point. And we need to be aware of that. Now, regardless of who gets into office, we need to pay attention to the signals. We could see a crash with either one because of what's going on in the economy, what's going on with the banking system, all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, you would say, who's the person that has been pumping money into the system who really caused the inflation? It actually was this current administration, which Kamala Harris is a part of. So I would assume this type of thing to continue if she gets into office. That's what I would say. And even if we get into World War III, they will use World War III as a way to print more money and go into more debt. Now, that's not to be political. That's just how I see it. If I'm wrong, the signals will prove me wrong. At the end of the day, I follow the signals. And right now, it looks like people are getting overzealous to the put side. So we most likely do head higher as that dollar has been dropping off dramatically. So I'm going to be very, very patient. That's my goal here. Be patient, look for setups from something like Tesla, something like, you know, Nvidia, something like all those, and just see what happens. Dollar starting to come down a little bit here, seeing if that can curl down on some stuff. 2 hour, if that curls down, we might see some positivity. 4 hour, if that curls down, we're probably seeing positivity, right? So volatility already crossed down on the daily scale, telling us, hey, some kind of squeeze can happen. Why do I think IWM isn't following as strong? Most likely, see the yields are slightly going up. That can affect IWM, but it could be because this is leading. It could be this is what's maybe supposed to be happening in the market, but this is an area where you would want to sometimes see a pullback, right? We would want to see pullbacks at these areas, build liquidity, break through. That's how I see it. And that's kind of what we're doing in these areas. But I want to be aware if there's some kind of rigged move, as this is the retail hour and we're heading up. If we would have headed down first and then people got overzealous to the put side, then I'd be very confident. But as we keep heading higher, I need to watch the signals very closely here. I need to pay attention to things that have dropped off, right? Things like Tesla. That's why you see me keep clicking over to it, because you do have a left ahead, a right shoulder forming. If this confirms back up, we might have an actually good play to the upside. Now, Nvidia starting to give up, so this was a good area for me to take some off the table. That's great. But I'm going to just wait. I'm going to be very, very patient here. I've had some great trades over the last couple of weeks, and I don't want to ruin that with one trade. So I'm just going to see if this pulls down and then curl back up. That'd be fantastic. See if this curls down, curls back up. That would be great. And Tesla's one that I'm watching because it's experienced some weakness. But if that thing curls back up, ooh, we could see some positivity there. But dollar really starting to just start to drop off. We'll see if that starts to cross down on some stuff. But dollar is heading down while the market's heading up. That's kind of what you want to see now. Now it's starting to add up to that the dollar was wrong this time. And maybe the dollar was wrong this time because that put-call ratio is just too high. I think it's got a good shot this week for sure. I think it's got a good shot. I just would like it, Marina. I would like it to do it towards the end of the week. I would like it to start making an upward move towards the end of the week. I would like this to be healthy. Or maybe we see a big move on Thursday and Friday, or Wednesday, and then Friday, Thursday, Friday, we see that start to drop off, and then we curl back up. That's what I would be really looking for. Squeeze till PPI, CPI. That could be the case. But all I'm looking for, hey, where's the most likely thing to happen? Well, this is green, so the most likely thing to happen is we test the upside range. All right, guys, it is 10:01, so I do have to hop off. There's a lot to pay attention to today. I am going to be trying to come back live later this afternoon. My buddy from Japan, he's only here for a few days, so I am trying to spend some time with him. He's one of my best friends, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with him. That's pretty much one of the best things I do is hang out with him. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Looks like as of right now, we're trying to target an upside move. What I would pay attention to is when we get here, what does the PCC look like? Do we try to pull back to confirm another upside move? We'll pay attention to those things. Maybe I'll be able to come back by the end of the day. So thank you guys. Please like the stream as we are exiting, but we'll watch this. I'll leave this up just for a little bit while I change and get ready. And then I'll come back, see if anything's commented. But for the most part, just thank you guys for being here. It means a lot. Like someone was asking earlier, I don't really have a lot of friends that want to talk about the stock market, at least to the extent that we talk about the stock market. So just know I appreciate you just as much as hopefully you appreciate me being here today. And thank you guys so much for being here. I wish you nothing but luck with all your trades from here on out. And I hope to be on later today. So make sure those notifications on and you are subscribed. Peace.